You sit down to work. You open your laptop. You're ready to focus. And within 3 minutes, you've checked your phone twice, opened 5 tabs, and somehow you're watching a video about something completely unrelated. This happens every single day, and you think it's a discipline problem. It's not. Your brain has been chemically rewired to make deep work nearly impossible. And when you understand the hidden science behind why this happens, you'll realize you've been fighting the wrong battle. Welcome to Life Mind Gym. Let me tell you about the day I realized I'd lost the ability to think. I was sitting at my desk trying to write, just write, something I'd done easily for years, but I couldn't hold a thought for more than 30 seconds. My mind kept jumping, checking email, glancing at my phone, opening new tabs, anything but the actual work in front of me. I tried everything, productivity apps, website blockers, Pomodoro timers. Nothing worked, and I felt like I was going insane. Then I discovered research from neuroscientist Dr. Cal Newport and attention researchers at UC Irvine that explained exactly what was happening to my brain, and it was darker than I expected. The fragmentation problem. Here's what most people don't know about deep work. Deep work isn't just focusing really hard. It's a specific neurological state where your brain enters what's called flow, a state where your prefrontal cortex synchronizes with other brain regions to produce high-level cognitive output. Getting into this state takes time. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes of uninterrupted focus for your brain to fully engage in deep work mode. 23 minutes. Now here's the problem. A study from Gloria Mark at UC Irvine found that the average knowledge worker is interrupted every 3 minutes. 3 minutes. You're being interrupted 8 times before your brain even has a chance to enter deep work. You're spending your entire day in shallow mental states, never reaching the depth where real thinking happens. And every interruption, even checking your phone for 2 seconds, resets that 23-minute timer back to 0. The residue effect. But it gets worse. When you switch your attention from task A to task B, your brain doesn't immediately follow. A portion of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. Psychologist Sophie Leroy calls this attention residue. So when you're trying to write, but you just checked your email, part of your brain is still thinking about that email. You're working with a divided mind. Even if you only checked your phone for 5 seconds, the residue lasts for minutes, sometimes hours. Your brain is contaminated by the previous task. This is why you can work all day and feel like you accomplished nothing. You were never fully present for anything. Every task got a fraction of your brain. Nothing got your whole mind. The dopamine hijack. Now here's where the neuroscience gets really dark. Your brain runs on dopamine, the molecule of motivation and reward. Deep work, by its nature, is difficult and uncertain. Your brain doesn't get much dopamine from deep work because the reward is delayed and unclear. But your phone, your email, social media, instant dopamine hits. Every notification, every scroll, every refresh gives your brain a tiny reward, instant and predictable. Over time, your brain becomes addicted to these quick dopamine hits. It starts craving them, and anything that doesn't provide instant gratification, like deep work, starts to feel painful. This is why sitting down to focus feels almost physically uncomfortable now. Your brain is literally in withdrawal from the constant stimulation it's been trained to expect. The cognitive endurance problem. Deep work isn't just about focus. It's about cognitive endurance, the ability to sustain difficult thinking for extended periods. And here's what research shows. Cognitive endurance is like a muscle. If you never use it, it atrophies. Most people haven't engaged in sustained deep thought for months, maybe years. They've trained their brain to expect interruption every few minutes. Their cognitive endurance has completely deteriorated. So when they try to focus for 2 hours straight, their brain rebels. It's like asking someone who hasn't run in 10 years to sprint a marathon. The capacity just isn't there anymore. The anxiety loop. But here's the really dark part that nobody talks about. For many people, avoiding deep work isn't about distraction. It's about fear. Deep work means being alone with your thoughts for extended periods. No distractions, no escapes, just you and the problem you're trying to solve. And for a lot of people, that's terrifying. When you're alone with your thoughts, you have to face things, doubts, fears, the possibility that you're not as competent as you pretend to be, the chance that you might fail. Distraction is a form of emotional avoidance. Checking your phone isn't just a habit, it's an anxiety management strategy. It's a way to escape the discomfort of confronting hard problems. So people unconsciously sabotage their own focus because, deep down, distraction feels safer than the vulnerability of deep thought. The hidden science of how deep work actually works. So, what's the solution? First, you need to understand that your brain's current state isn't permanent. Neural plasticity means you can retrain your attention, but it takes time and it's going to be uncomfortable. The science shows 3 critical factors for rebuilding deep work capacity. 1. Structured isolation. You can't negotiate with distraction. You need complete environmental control. Phone in another room, internet blocker on, door closed. Your environment has to force deep work because your brain won't choose it voluntarily. 2. Progressive exposure. You can't jump straight to 4-hour deep work sessions if your brain hasn't focused for more than 10 minutes in months. Start with 20-minute blocks, just 20 minutes of pure focus, then build from there. Treat it like physical training, gradual, progressive overload. 3. Dopamine recalibration. You need to actively lower your baseline dopamine stimulation. This means reducing the frequency of quick hits, less social media, fewer notification checks, longer gaps between stimulation. Your brain needs to relearn that boredom is normal and that deeper rewards are worth waiting for. The research from Dr. Andrew Huberman shows this recalibration can happen in as little as 2 weeks if you're consistent, but you have to actually do it. The uncomfortable truth. Here's what nobody wants to hear. Most people will never do deep work again, not because they can't, because they won't. Deep work requires sacrifice. It means missing notifications, being less responsive, feeling uncomfortable, sitting with boredom, facing your own thoughts. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. They'd rather feel busy and distracted than productive and uncomfortable. Deep work isn't a productivity hack. It's a lifestyle choice, and most people, when they really examine their priorities, don't actually want it. But if you're someone who does, if you're tired of the shallow, fragmented, distracted existence, then you now know what you're actually fighting against. It's not discipline, it's neuroscience, and you can't will your way out of a neurological problem. You have to systematically rebuild your brain's capacity for sustained attention. That's the hidden science they don't tell you. Deep work isn't about trying harder. It's about reconstructing the neural pathways that modern life has destroyed. If this explained why you can't focus anymore, subscribe to Life Mind Gym and hit the bell. We break down the brain science and dark psychology behind why you struggle and how to actually fix it. Drop a comment. How long can you focus without getting distracted? Be honest. I want to see where everyone's really at. And if you know someone who can't sit still for 5 minutes without checking their phone, share this with them. Let's rebuild our minds together.